Hey everybody, and I'm here for some late night. I'm just in the mood. I'm a bit just fired up. I'm PO'd. I'm annoyed, and I'm worried. Should we all be worried at the moment about Arsenal? That plus a wrap up of the Premier League match day 8, all coming up right here on the Premier League show. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live. Premier League show, guys. I'm not going to take your time that much today. We're going to get through everything as quickly as I possibly can. I've got so much to cover. The NBA has just now tipped off. I'm keeping tabs on that. Obviously, different sport. But we will be having an NBA show, first edition NBA show today, as well as your top 10 NFL show and all of that. So pack day here at Hotsport. Pack day for me personally, because I also have a lot of other stuff going on that is not your business, having to do with my regular day job. And yeah, so a very, very packed day. Just got to make sure I get to everything, tick off everything. But of course, I am here to entertain you all. And before we get into it, look, I'm not going to be that worried about who's here and who's not. I understand that it is very late in the night for it in England. I imagine it's actually past midnight. I also imagine that people are working where I am, and in America, obviously, you have the Celtics against the Knicks beginning right now. But make sure you guys are hitting the like button if you are watching the video. Seriously, if you watch the video, even if you're here for 5 seconds, hit the like. It really does so much. And if you're enjoying the content, make sure you're subscribing. As always, on these live shows, you are more than welcome to leave a comment, listen to what I'm saying. Let me know your thoughts on the topics as they go by. And as well, after the video is over, you can leave a comment and everything. Let me know what you guys all think. And yeah, we might as well get started. We're going to try to fly through this as quickly as possible. And we've also got some, the things we always talk about on the show, seemingly, which is referee stuff in our, later on. But let's hit the headlines. Before we get to, obviously, the match that just happened between Arsenal and Shakhtar Donetsk in the Premier League. Sorry, in the Champions League. My God, just fired up. Let's talk about the key headlines in the Premier League, shall we? To begin, Liverpool, take care. I've just got watch stuff coming on. All right, maybe I'll take the watch off. How about that, guys? So that way I can fully focus on you all. Liverpool, they are top of the league right now, and they're very well positioned at the top of the league. Let's be honest here. Obviously, their tougher run of fixtures comes up. They have Chelsea coming off the international break. They're going to have Arsenal coming up. I don't know how tough that's going to be now. I hope. But then we'll get into all of that stuff later on in the show. But yeah, look, Liverpool get the result. It was an interesting game. It's hard to put my finger on it in terms of what this result means. Obviously, what it means is a big 3 points at Anfield against a top 6 side for Liverpool. The performance itself, look, Liverpool could have been out of sight for many reasons, but it could have been just due to penalties. Obviously, the first penalty was put away by Mohamed Salah. There was a second penalty shout, which was reversed by the VAR. And yeah, Chelsea got back into the game through a Nicholas Jackson goal. Very good goal on the counterattack. And Liverpool, were clutch. They came up big in the end. Curtis Jones bumbled it over the line terrible performance today by Robert Sanchez, honestly. But I said it was going to be a blowout in my picks. And by the way, my picks, I know this was one of the ones I got right, but overall, oh my God, this was honestly, it's so brave of me to come on and have this show. I love my channel so much, but otherwise, I just could honestly have not given a toss about coming on just because I look like a fool in some of my picks, and obviously what happened with Arsenal, what's happening with Arsenal still. But I'm fired up and I want to discuss about it. So, look, overall, Liverpool, they're in a great position, and honestly, if they beat Arsenal at the Emirates, they could take full advantage now, and they could really make they could make this title race theirs early on, like as in early, give them the early pole position. Um, in terms of the performance, I wouldn't say that Liverpool made a statement. I said that Liverpool were expected to win this game at home against Chelsea. They won the game, but I don't think they dominated the game. I don't think there was anything they can go by. But in the Premier League, if you want to win it, these points are crucial. And for me, beating a top six side are 3 big points added on to your tally, and it makes the big difference at the end of the day. So table-wise, this is huge for Liverpool. I think it would have been bad if they had lost to Chelsea, just by way on the flip side, and especially bad for me because I had to hear it from Chelsea fans. Oh my God, wouldn't it have been crazy? And we had Chelsea on the horizon as well. But for them if they even came away with a point at Anfield, they would continue. So at least Chelsea lost, and that was good for that. Anyway, guys, any thoughts on the Liverpool Chelsea game? Liverpool fans, Chelsea game fans, let me know in the comment section your thoughts. The other result involving the title race that on a Sunday, Manchester City beating Wolves 2-1. And I have this adage here that sometimes with City, look, it's so tough. It's a tough fine line. Like, you can't criticize anyone for scoring, but I just feel like every time City go behind in any game against a team that's not, I gotta say, caveat to this, if it was any of the title contenders, top 6 contenders, plus Villa, they go behind early. I'm not going to use this, but for anybody else, especially when they score in the first half, you're like, man, the City's is this going to wake them up? City's going to come back. They're going to score. And that's what happened. Vardiol equalized. And then let's talk about the shenanigans that went on at the end. Obviously, another late winner by Man City and by John Stones. Very similar to what happened with Arsenal, except for that led to a draw versus them picking up all 3 points. But yeah, look, I know the referee, and maybe I should go into that as well later on, but I'm not, just because I just don't have enough time. But maybe the referee looked at it in the wrong way. They're thinking that at the point of which the header comes in, is Bernardo Silva blocking the view of Jose Sa? No, and that's why the goal stands. And by the letter of the law, which I hate because you cannot do everything on case by case. At the same time, you know what? I got to be honest with you, and I'm just going to bring this up, just this situation in general, but I'm going to be honest with you. As an Arsenal fan, I could totally imagine Ben White doing what Bernardo Silva did, and me defending and me being upset if the goal was disallowed had that been Arsenal. So I have to be consistent here and say that it was a legitimate winning goal. Let's just say that. But yeah, Bernardo Silva is shoving the keeper. He's doing everything he can with the keeper. And in general, I think there are rules laid down so that the goalkeeper cannot be impeded. Do all you want with all the other defenders on the pitch, but the goalie cannot be touched. The goalie's job is to be able to score a goal. I mean, to keep the goals out. And if you're physically getting in his way, or you're physically, pushing him around and putting your hands on him, you're making it very tough for him to be able to make a save, and that's not within the nature of the game, in my opinion. But I also, in my opinion, think that it's a legitimate goal. And then City win 2-1, which, again, as an Arsenal fan, after losing that game, and obviously we're going to talk about that, seeing these two results, the Liverpool one and the City one, I just feel like we have a lot of work to do. And I feel like there was a lot of pressure now for Arsenal to make sure they win that game against Liverpool this weekend. Otherwise, these two, it's not just that. You lose to Liverpool, City is probably going to win as well. And you're way behind the eight ball. At the moment, we are 4 points behind Liverpool and 3 behind Man City. And so if that becomes 7 and 6, good night. I mean, good night for now. I mean, obviously there were points like this last year and we rebounded and came back from it. But yeah, it's worrying. Anyway, everyone, if you have any thoughts on the Man City Wolves game, make sure you leave a comment. Elsewhere, the early kickoff was Tottenham against West Ham. And good, again, not a great way for me to start off at all the week. And yeah, look, West Ham went early. They went ahead early through Mohamed Kudus. And, they were providing a threat through that way. That cross that came in from Bowen to Kudus could have happened earlier on in the game, and it eventually did to put West Ham up 1-0. And Tottenham, they equalized before the half with Kulusevski. And then they blew them away at the start of the second half. I got to give it to Spurs here. That was very impressive. Like what I was saying about Liverpool that I didn't see, I saw from Tottenham, which was the ability to kill a game off really quickly. I consider West Ham a top 10 team. So it's a big game, London rival. And for Spurs to kill it off the way they did, and Son looking magnificent, was very, very impressive. And look, at the time, this was obviously before the Arsenal results, so I shrugged it off. Even though, and I was like, well done. But it was the beginning of what was a very tough Saturday for me, because I went 0-5 and I had a draw predicted in this game. And Tottenham set the tone. They did set the tone. This was, I think, for me, their most impressive result of the season. This was a real statement by Tottenham Hotspur. So I tip my hat to you guys, even though obviously we are rivals, but I tip my hat to you guys. That was very, very impressive stuff. Next one, the other Saturday game that I'm going to cover, and then we're going to get into my main Arsenal topics here in a second. But Man United saved Erik ten Hag's job, didn't they not? And they went behind right before halftime from a corner, and you thought, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. The obituary of Erik ten Hag is about to be written. But it was a really, really, actually, I think, fully impressive second half performance from Man United. I cannot lie. This is obviously the sharpest I think I've seen them play, especially at home all season, but for the longest time. Rashford, Garnacho, by the way, was everywhere in this game. Garnacho, for me, was the man of the match for Manchester United, even though he doesn't steal the headlines. But Rashford, that was a delicious cross, and Garnacho off the volley scores, equalized. And then the other goal that they scored, the Bruno Fernandes assist to Rasmus Højlund, and that finished that chip. Class. I've got to say class. And, You know what? Man United fans have been under the pump all year. They've had to endure it. I didn't endure what I'm feeling right now every single week. Man, that would be depressing. But I think this was a good one for them to get. I think they had to. They finally won a game at Old Trafford this season. I mean, they won against Fulham, but it wasn't a great performance. But yeah, their first win since the opening day at Old Trafford all season. And yeah, well done to Man United. United fans, how you guys feeling about that one? Will Man United turn it around? Is this the beginning of a good run coming here from the Red Devils? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. But let's get into our main topics here. I'm going to talk about this, obviously, and then we'll talk expand further. And Arsenal lost to Bournemouth by a score of 2-0. And this is obviously where I'm going to have controversial. I'm going to share with you a few clips, maybe one clip. Maybe we'll do one or two. We'll see how we're feeling on this. But look, to me, I'll show you the only positive I can take away from this, and that is that I can still claim to you that with 11 men on the pitch in 90 minutes, Arsenal have been perfect. With 10 men, that's where we've dropped points every single time. We have yet to survive the 10-man exam. We almost did. The closest we did to surviving it was Man City, of all places, and then Man City clawed the draw. But I'm almost getting sick and tired of it. And I'm going to get into that after a second because I've got to credit Bournemouth, and I haven't done it before I really talk about Arsenal. And look, Bournemouth, you clearly smelt blood in the water even before we went down. I think the Evan Nilsson chance, the Trossard giving the ball away that way, but that Evan Nilsson chance was a symptom of a team that could sense that Arsenal weren't at the races, that this game could be had, and they put in an effort of a team that we started to give belief. And this is the issue. Look, by the way, what I'd say here is I generally have so much faith in our defense with 11 men on the pitch, and even at some points with 10 men on the pitch, that we could shut other teams out. So slow starts to games don't concern me as much. I'm willing to allow that. I'm willing to allow us, if necessary, to work our way into the game and do whatever we can later on, figure out, get a nice moment, kick your chances and win the game eventually. Obviously, there are games that I would love to see us come out with a purpose, blitz, especially if we're playing a top team. And I want to see it this weekend when we play Liverpool for sure, to come out and assert your dominance early. But it can't happen every week. It's not possible to happen every week. Every game is different. Every game throws at you a different scenario. And I think with 11 men on the pitch, Arsenal would have passed this test. I think they would have. As much as Bournemouth smelled blood in the water, I don't think Arsenal would have allowed it. And it was just a really bad situation, this Saliba thing. Because, number one, everyone is pushed up. I don't know what Trossard's doing. I do not know why he's playing this pass back. I don't ever like backward passes. I don't love backward passes that are played in the air with a trailing striker. Right? And what is very dangerous about that, not just that, is it's down in the middle of the pitch. Before I get onto the Saliba stuff, I have to knock Trossard because he should not be getting away with this. You can't play that ball in down the middle like that, like a loop ball, you just can't do it. You just can't do it because what happens is that it excuses attack strikers from being offside. It excuses strikers from being offside because the ball is not being played by their own teammates, being played by the other team. And it's fair game to anybody, regardless of your position, if the ball is given away. 1 second. With the headphones. Give me 1 second, everybody, just to make sure. Audio. Okay. Yeah. So with that, we can't get that Trossard out. But here's where it comes to. I think a lot of people are being unfair on Saliba. What is Saliba meant to do in that situation? He doesn't even fully go in for the foul. If anything, he loses his footing and he sort of trips over, and Evan Nilsson kind of is really quick to go to ground as well. And he just caught dead in a very, very bad position. I almost call it he was framed. I mean, what in that position was Saliba supposed to do? Let the striker take off? That's what a lot of people are telling me he should be doing. Maybe what he should be doing is staying on his feet and chasing after the ball, making a recovery tackle, which is what Saliba is so good at doing. Raya as well is in, having seen it again, is also very high up the pitch off his line, which is the way Arsenal tend to set up when we have the ball. We're putting pressure attacking wise. It was just a really, really bad situation overall. Now, do I agree with the decision? I can understand the decision. There are a few different things here, right? Because I feel like so many things, so many haters are black and white on each different thing, and this was the right call, this was not the right call, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's a combination of, was this the right call? How Arsenal have been treated in general throughout the whole season. Have the things that also have been penalized also towards other teams. This is all really important stuff. So the referees, and here's the thing, the original decision on the pitch yellow card, I think, was the best decision. Because yes, it's a foul. Just give it a yellow. They're denying a goal scoring opportunity. He's like 50 yards away from goal. But just give it a yellow. He's in a tough position. There's no other option at that point for Saliba. His teammate has put him in a very tough situation. Very tough situation. It wasn't a decision that Saliba had made. It was a reactive instinct. So I think the initial decision of yellow was fair because the foul in that situation, yes. But to go back onto the VAR and give it a red tells me that it was not, who was the referee? Rob Jones, was it? It was not his initial call. He was told, and I saw Howard Webb on his earpiece talking, and he had to go back to the VAR. He was told by VAR, Jared Gillett, I believe, and I still believe by Howard Webb. And it's ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. And I'm starting to think, and it's out there. Because you know what? After the draw with City were like, we want to look into Arsenal for their dark arts. And you know that just not giving Arsenal a break. And you could say, look, you don't want to put yourself in a position with your performances to allow referees to make these calls because you know they're just so bad at their jobs. But again, it's very hard for me to say. I'm not arguing. I can understand why it's a red card. Because if you know football, you know that if you're the last man and he's denied a goal scoring opportunity, it's a red card. So if they have deemed that to be the case, you can't be. Wasn't surprised by the decision. I could understand the decision, but obviously the way it impacted my team upset me. And what I want is consistency. What I want is Tosin Adaramabayo, when he has the exact same situation, but in the exact same situation against Liverpool, to him to also get sent red card. And the argument is about, the other second defender, how far is he away? How quick is he? All this BS stats that we're going to look into right now. because I will cover this, and then we'll get back to slating Arsenal because my own team does not deserve to get away with anything this week. But let's do this one first. Let's do Sky Sports. Here you go.
That leads us nicely into Arsenal. William Saliba initially shown a yellow card by Rob Jones after bringing down Ivan Nilsson. VAR check, Jared Gillett sent him to the screen. It was then upgraded to a red. Right, so inevitably, Arsenal fans will be saying, what on earth is the difference? How come we have a player sent off at Bournemouth and Chelsea remain with 11 at Anfield?
I think it's a different situation. The ball, it's a foot race again. The ball's going over his head, but it's going down the middle, so it's not going towards goal. Ben White is a long, long way from Evan Nilsson, so Evan Nilsson, for me, is always favourite to get that ball. And another thing that played a factor was the fact that Raya actually backed off. So Raya's start position actually become harder for him to get the ball because he reversed.
Okay, so a lot of people have been saying, well, Ben White could have come across and covered, like you're saying, Colwill could have come across and covered. So we thought we'd look at the statistics. The speed the players were going before the Saliba.
By the way, I just gotta say before I comment on this, I just find that the television, everything, all these guys that they bring onto these programs, former ex-refs and stuff, have the referees ever got anything wrong? Can they ever just borderline just be upfront with us and honest that we have terrible referees in this country, and instead creating these insane cases as to why the referees are correct? Now, look, the referees can be correct and I'd say more often than not, they're not. And the ones that they are correct, mostly. The ones that they are not, and obviously the ones that we highlight. And I've just highlighted Arsenal ones, and that's because it's only been happening to Arsenal. I will make this promise that if it happens to another team, I will also talk about it. Just so you can see. Because if you are always just, backing up the referees just because it supports your club, it supports your interests, supports your agendas, then you're not getting it. You're absolutely not getting it. But yeah, what is this? How do you know? Okay, so Evan Nilsson is going at 16.96 kilometers and Ben White is going at 14.8 kilometers. So they would deduce that had Ben White tried to chase down Evan Nilsson, would he have not caught up to it? Now, here's the thing that they have not kept into the case here, is that you're talking about a world where Saliba doesn't make the tackle, right? So that means Saliba is also on the foot race. You also have to take into account the reaction, the speed to get back by Raya. There's so many things that have to happen still for Evan Nilsson to score. And they're going to show you later in this video the full pace of each of the players. Their 40 time, their average pace. But don't take into account that one man is running without a football and the other man has a dribble, which slows you down. So, but let's continue with what they have to say here in their explanation.
Foul. Well, as you can see, Evan Nilsson was travelling much quicker, 16.96 kilometres per hour, compared with Ben White, who was going off at 14.8 at that moment. People say Ben White's a very quick footballer. He would have accelerated. However, top speeds in the Premier League this season sees Evan Nilsson at 33.47.
And okay, so this is what I was just saying. So we're talking about top speeds in the Premier League for Evan Nilsson this year, top speed in the Premier League for Ben White. If Evan Nilsson has the ball and Ben White does not have the ball, Evan Nilsson is not going to hit top speed. He has to settle himself. He has to make sure that he's able to get the shot away. He has to be able to pause, to be able to shoot. He loses a split second there. So this is just BS. This is just PR BS to protect referees and to try to explain to us their decision. Now, I'm going to be clear here. Overall, I can understand why the card was given. I can. So unlike some of the other situations with the Declan Rice one specifically, where I was completely thinking that it was the wrong decision, here I still haven't made up my mind if it is or is not. But what I'm trying to tell you is that Arsenal are being targeted because the same thing happens to Chelsea one day later, and they give him a yellow. Newcastle have got who was it? Jack Grealish punching Newcastle players, being rough with Newcastle players and getting nothings. And your Arsenal players getting sent off for kicking the ball away. And then this situation happens, and the exact same thing happens the next day to Tosin, and he only gets a yellow. No second check. And we're going to talk about Levi Colwill's positioning on the pitch compared to Ben White's positioning on the pitch. No, you cannot dissect a call like that. It has to be black and white. Because everyone's telling me he denied her obvious goal scoring opportunity. And then you're saying Tosin did not deny Diogo Jota an obvious goal scoring opportunity in the other game? It's the same thing. So now he's not denying it because of a teammate in a specific range, around the area behind him, where he didn't even know the players aren't aware of the space of where his other teammate is. That's all bollocks. So for me, I could have lived with this had the same thing happen to Chelsea. But it did not. And you're going to see in these videos, they're going to give you all these BS explanations as to why it's okay for Arsenal, not okay for Chelsea. And the point is, I've seen plenty of players kick the ball away without any card at all. And I've seen another example of the exact same tackle and is not being someone. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is it because they're scared of Arsenal and they're trying to keep their status quo to help their good old Manchester City win the league? And which I don't understand that logic by me just now. But it just feels that way. And even with the 115 charges, we're talking about, Man City, the Premier League is still doing their darndest to make sure that they win. And then you have the situation what I was talking about earlier with the Bernardo Silva thing shrugged off. Because City are not put into these situations. They never put City through these situations. The way I see it is through a 38-game season, you got to put everyone under the same situations. Everything evens out over the course of the season, but I have yet to see how that works. We have yet to see how that works because at the moment, through 8 games, Arsenal had 3 players sent off. Let's continue.
Ben White at 32.07. So even Nielsen is quicker over the ground, you would assume from those statistics. So I see all your 3 points here. First of all, that Ben White wasn't going to get across if we look at the statistics, and that Raya was backpedaling, and that then he was through on goal. Yeah. So, Sue, can you see the difference between?
Sounds a lot of waffling to me. It sounds like a whole lot of waffling to me, honestly, and it makes them look even sillier when they try to create these cases as to what the decision is by the referee. Do you not get what I'm saying? Why are the TV companies constantly just doing what they can to try and justify the terrible refereeing in this country? It's a joke. The whole thing is corruption.
The 2, and can you see why the one at Bournemouth was a red?
Yeah, I think they're both the correct decisions. I think when you look at that, there wasn't a covering defender at Arsenal. Yes, Ben White was there, but would he have got a cross in time? It didn't look like he would. You look at the direction of the ball. So I think that's where it's different to the Chelsea one, where they did have the recovering defender and the direction that the ball was going. So I thought on both instances, it was the right decision.
Oh, do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear this lady? Do you hear these people? They're just full of BS. They're very, very intelligent people. They're really good at bullshitting you. But they do it, and they do it all the time. Oh, no. Either they're both wrong or they're both, either one is going to be, either they're both reds or they're both yellows. That's the truth. Stop giving me this, look at the direction of the ball and the referee is not thinking about all that stuff in the time. I'm sorry. He doesn't have a measuring stick. He has no idea about the top speeds. He doesn't. That's all. That's all BS. The referee in neither of those games knew about any of those pieces of information. Come on.
And you can see subtle differences between the two.
Yeah, I love the fact, again, that the referee makes a decision, but then works with the VAR team to come to the correct decision. I was listening to the VAR because I was at the game, the Bournemouth game as well, and I'm listening to the discussion that the VAR are having, and they're talking about...
You share that discussion with us, Premier League? Can we, you see it on the cricket, I've seen it on the footy, you see it in the NFL, the referee tells you afterwards why he's made his decision, right? Can we get that, please? Can we get the audio that this gentleman over here clearly has in his ear at the football game? Can we get that audio for the people? Then I'm not sitting here having to have these segments on my shows. They could have settled it. You can hear the discussion. You know what? Because I can hear the discussion between the referee. I can get to their actual logic. So what I'm hearing right now is a bunch of waffling on television after the fact. But they have hidden the actual discussion between the referee. I want to hear what the VAR team has said to the referee, and the referee seeing his decision process to overturn the call and to take that advice. And here's the problem. Here's the problem with VAR getting involved with these situations. And I've been told before that VAR can get involved. Obviously, they're doing it now in yellow cards and red cards. But my problem here is that even if the referee felt it was a yellow, the minute his VAR guy or his boss, Howard Webb, calls him up and tells him, you got to change this call, even if he believes it's a yellow, he knows for his own career's sake, it's a bad idea to ignore the boss. And that's where this becomes really tricky. I want to hear this stuff on the broadcast. I want to hear it when we're checking the VAR.
Flight, they're talking about the goalkeeper's position, backtracking. They just turn the camera angle round so they could see David Raya moving backwards. Then they're looking at Ben White's position. I'm thinking, great, you're taking everything into account here. But again, I love the fact that Rob Jones goes over to the monitor, looks at it. They talk him through exactly what they've seen, what they've looked at. And it took a while to get there, but they got there and they got the right decision. And I think the decision at the weekend as well was probably easier for them, having seen the decision the night before, because it's fresh in the mind. They know what they're looking for. They're looking for the ball flight. They're looking for the nearest defender. And I thought that was the correct decision as well. So really good from the VAR.
I think what you've done there, Stephen, as well, you've painted a picture that the referee can't have on the pitch, because in natural speed, he gets one look. So he looks and you try to photo snap it in your head. It's very, very difficult because the ball moves, the players move. And without doubt, the minute Evan Nielsen goes down, Ben White then covers a lot of ground in that time.
Yeah.
And Evan Nielsen on the ground, everything changes. But as you say, they walk them through that step by step, and you look at it and you go, yeah, he wouldn't have got there, he wouldn't have got there.
Yeah.
And everything changed. The whole landscape's different.
Well, I think so as well. If you look at Rob Jones's position, his focus is solely on that incident. It's not scanning. If he's probably 10 yards back, he probably sees Ben White then and sees the distances between. But that's where you do need the help. And I thought it was really well worked out.
Okay, let's just clear this up as well, because plenty have been said about Howard Webb and any potential role he played in this. We saw him mic'd up.
This part of the video is absolutely hilarious because now they're going to try to get out of the fact that Howard Webb clearly he was involved in this decision. You have video evidence, but now they're going to wiggle their way out of it and come up with an explanation. It's absolutely a joke. Some of these segments, they're hilarious. They're hilarious. It's corruption at its highest.
Up and on his phone. Right, let's sort this once and for all, Dermot.
Yeah, all the coaches that go to games have an earpiece, and they actually listening to the conversation between the officials on the pitch. So what he can hear is the referee might be relaying to the assistant, I've seen this, you've got a different angle, tell me where he is and such like. So he can hear that, but he can't speak to anybody. It's impossible. It's accept call only.
There we go. Okay.
And how do we believe what you've said? You just say it and oh yeah, he can only hear it. He can't say anything. BS. He's the boss. And what is he doing at our game of all games? And he's still listening into his referees. He should, if he's there to observe the game, he's there to observe the game. But he should not be involved at ever. I don't want to see an earpiece. If Howard Webb is sitting there, by the way, clearly he's sitting here in the Bournemouth luxury suite. Very nicely invited to the game, shall I say. Take it back, right? So he's discussing with this guy. What is he saying? He's got his phone on him. He's got this earpiece. I don't know. I don't know what to believe, but look, I can't stay on this topic for too long. We've got so much to do today, but look, I just feel like it's the end of the day. I think that there's an agenda against us. We had 2 red cards completely over the last 2 seasons, averaged 1 per year, and now we've got 3 in the first 8 games. And it's hard enough with the injuries that we've had. We're going to get into all that stuff. We're going to, because I kind of want to save my frustration about Arsenal itself for my final topic. But the referee thing, I was going to leave it alone, but I just can't. I just can't leave it alone for the moment. And I just kind of just want games without, look, at the same time, my players need to make better decisions and not give these idiots the opportunity to make the bad calls that they do. And this, oh, well, look, they walked him through this blah, 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 blah. It's not in the nature of the game. That never used to happen in the past. And it's abusing the technology that they're given. VAR needs to be used for, is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty? Offside, handball, all those things that were concrete evidence that you can show on the video. And if you're going to make this overturn this call, let me hear the conversation. Howard can hear the conversation. This dude on television can hear the conversation. Why can't I hear the conversation? Why can't you hear the conversation? Why aren't those top speed, all this information relayed to us on the VAR screen in the review? Maybe make it easier for us. Maybe that's the other thing. Continue with your BS decisions and at least let us, as the fan, be able to live with it. Because at the same time, the rest of the game, without me knowing what your conversation has been, I'm like sitting there all depressed. And I don't know who to be mad at. And at the end of the day, we're going to get to the other part of the segment, right? But this is all I can have on this topic. That's all I can have on this topic. But let's just talk now quickly before we wrap up this show and we get to our final topic of the day, the topic that is on our thumbnail. Arsenal played another game since, and that was today, Arsenal against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League. And I gotta say, I am starting to get quite worried. Now let's run you through what happens in this game. I think Arsenal, for the most part, in the first half, dominated the ball. We were very dangerous. We crossed the ball well. We got ourselves into dangerous scoring positions. Jesus had a few chances. Havertz had a few chances. Trossard had a few chances. Martinelli. I think we were all on them. I think we were all on them. I think we generally dominated the game, but we could not put away the chances. While chance creation is something that I'm concerned about overall, today we had the chance creation against the level of opponent that we were playing. We did not have the finishing, which is, you could look, I haven't said it at all. But it's another reason why me and a lot of other fans wanted a gunman, or we wanted a striker. And instead, we were given Raheem Sterling, who I've yet to see any real concrete performances from in the Premier League or the Champions League. And yeah, I don't know. That's coming up to, but anyway, we score. Scott, stay on task here so we can finish up this show. We score. Martinelli comes up with a shot that could have been saved by the keeper, but the keeper saves it in just into his own net. He just deflects, he shoves it into his own net, comes off of the keeper, and it's an own goal. And that's all we got for a goal. And later on, Arsenal were given, VAR actually came into Arsenal's favor this time. They were given a penalty for a handball. And then I don't know whose decision was this. Was this the player's decision? Was this an Arteta decision? We'll never know. But Leandro Trossard was given the responsibility to take the kick. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking to myself out loud in my living room. Why isn't Kai Havertz taking the pen? I'm saying this out loud in our living room. Like, honestly, I was like, look, beginning game, like, look, I'd love to see Kai Havertz get a goal here tonight so we continue that home goal scoring record. I think he was either he leveled it, he would have broken the record, or otherwise. And with that in mind, given that Kai Havertz is most definitely the best penalty taker we have on the pitch, he should have been given it. It could have been an awesome moment. In fact, if they gave Havertz the penalty and he scored and we were on to win 2-0, I'm not feeling this frustrated right now. I'm celebrating our record of a player who was much maligned, scoring a record amount of goals consecutively at home, and instead they give it to Trossard. And I was nervous when he went up to take it. I've never seen Trossard take a pen for Arsenal. Maybe he has in a shootout. I've never seen him in game take a pen for Arsenal. And I'm just like, why? Why is he the one taking it? There's something in my head. I had this bad feeling. And then the shot was so straightforward, so easy to save. It was terrible. Made it so easy for the keeper. And so we've denied our player an opportunity to make history. And as well, we've not put the best taker at the spot in that situation. And from that point on, Arsenal were holding on, as I mentioned in my reel. We're holding on, and the whistle comes, and we're relieved. We get the win. We get the win, which is important. And at the end of the day, towards qualification, the Champions League, that's what matters. For me, I'm looking at the big picture, looking at Arsenal right now, and we must well get on to the new topic. Should we be worried about Arsenal? Am I worried about Arsenal? And genuinely, for those of you who have followed me on this channel since its beginning in April, I've always been very quite confident. I've been very quite, arrogant sometimes when it comes to my belief in Arsenal. And that's because Arsenal was so solid defensively, they know how to control games, and we're clinical up front. As much as people don't want to say it, we broke our record of goal scoring last year. Got some of the best creators in the world in Odegaard and Saka. Havertz has been banging him in. And Arsenal, and they very well could become this, the champions. We could be the champions, maybe. But we're coming to a part of the season where it could be on the line already. Because one thing that I go back to in the last 2 seasons when we didn't go over the line is you come back into middle of the year and to certain results. And it's easy to be motivated when you have that bitter taste in your mouth from losing out. But it's also easy to forget it in the course of a season for all the chaos, the game-by-game schedule, all the traveling, all the injuries, all this, all that, for you to lose track of that target, to lose your heads, to lose confidence, and release the grip that you should be having to keep touch. And the task is not easy. Man City are so consistent. Man City are very consistent. I have waited and waited and waited and waited for Man City to lose a game for the longest time. In the entirety, I believe, of 2024. The last time they lost a game was away at Aston Villa in December of 2023. That is dangerous consistency. Liverpool are showing you dangerous consistency. Now, can they keep it up? We'll have to see. I wish, and I would have been confident. In fact, I marked it in my full schedule as an Arsenal win against Liverpool, thinking we would be mostly with our best team. I reckon even if we were just missing Odegaard, I would have felt confident about this. But now I'm nervous. I'm nervous because, just all the things are not going the right way. And look, it's not like Liverpool are playing out of their minds that that Liverpool themselves scare the life out of me. That performance against Chelsea, when I watched it, I'm not feeling sick to my stomach that we have to play Liverpool next week. What I'm feeling sick to my stomach is we're not going to have Saliba. We're not going to have Odegaard. And today in the press conference, Arteta is saying it's unlikely we're going to have Saka. But Arteta also has a history of playing mind games with you and not giving you any information on that stuff and not making, he doesn't like to make promises to the fan base, but B, he doesn't want the opponent the ability to prepare for what the team he actually is going to play for is. Then you add to the fact, okay, we're missing Saliba, but I kind of, in my head the last few days, were like, look, a back four, I could put Calafiori next to Gabriel, I can get Ben right at right back, Timber will probably back, play him at left back. That's still a really, really good back four. I can live with that. Especially with Rice and Partey or Rice and Marino ahead of that. I could have lived with it. I really could have. But if Ricardo Calafiori is not going to play, and my initial gut reaction was that he will be okay, Arteta says, he had to come off, he felt something, it's not good. Didn't fill me with confidence either, but again, it's another thing where we just don't know the extent. Sometimes when you don't have all the medical information, it's tough for the manager to comment on it. And he said that Arsenal is going to be flying into Liverpool. We better hope. But who is going to be flying? We need Bukayo Saka. At the moment, I just almost feel like it's stuff that are out of Arsenal's control. I feel like Arsenal's prepared for these matches. I feel like they have the right formula to win any game, regardless of the opponents, including Man City. I'm not going to have revisionist history and take back the things that I've thought of before and I've said online. I'm not going to take it back. But at this moment in time, with the injury list piling up, with the way we're playing, with our inability to find the back of the net, and since the international break, we've got 1 goal in the 2 matches, and that one was a deflection. And I'm worried. I am truly worried. It's time for Arsenal. We need to win this game against Liverpool. If we do not, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. And this is the first time you're going to see me break. Because at the same time, while I want to defend my teams and I want to make sure, keep everything, down to earth and try to, at the same time, though, I have to be real and with you with what's going on. And I'll be real about my feelings all the time. And so if before I'm not worried, that's my feelings. If before I'm just telling you that, the refereeing decisions are the reasons why we didn't win the game, Well, I agree the decisions are not. The fact that we were down to 10 men is the reason why we've dropped points in the games that we have. But at the same time, we need to get it clicking into gear. And he may have to take some risks. Even if Saka is somewhat available, he might have to roll the dice. Because at the moment, I just don't see El Fiori, how up for that game I'm going to need him. Who's coming in if El Fiori's out? Like, Ben White, is he right back? Is he center back? Is Kivior playing this game? Is Timber back? Do we have, I've heard Tomiyasu has now had a setback. When's Zinchenko coming back? Who's available for the Liverpool game? It's just, and we had so many options in defense, and they've just, and now we're going to have our best defender suspended. It's going to be tough. And one thing I will tell you about Arteta, though, is that when he's a very good tactician when it comes to knowing what sets of circumstances he has. The problem, however, is that we need to be able to not just nullify Liverpool. We need to win the game. And not just by scoring from a corner and holding on for dear life. I mean, we got to win the game. We got to show something. And we have to be on it. We can't be as sloppy. That's all we have time for today on the Premier League show. I promise this will be quick. We've almost reached an hour on my show today. Again, if you've been here the whole time, thank you so much. Thank you for the support you give me. We're on the road now, still to 500 subs. If you have watched this video, make sure you hit the like button. Comment on all the things we've been talking about, on all the results. If your team, Liverpool against Chelsea game, Man City, Tottenham, Man United. Of course, all the stuff talk about the referees. Arsenal in trouble, the main topic. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I read every single comment. And I replied to every single comment, even if you're coming after me. I've had replies to some comments on my reels on the socials. And speaking of the socials, also on our TikTok and our Instagram right here. And we'll see you guys later. Anton out.